I believe the average American, the average household right now is in a recession. And if they don't know it, they're about to know it. It's Saturday, March 12th, 2022. A lot to talk about today. I want to share a few articles with you, and I want to share some data and some facts with all of you. Feel free to comment down below. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Share all these videos, blast them all over social media. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. Without further ado, let's get right into what's happening. We continue to see a lot of volatility in these markets and a lot of volatility in this economy, and volatility now affecting the average household. Article today on Yahoo Finance: recession risks are piling up and investors need to get ready. I think we've been in a recession for quite a while, and in my opinion, I believe we've already started into a very severe depression. But when you look at the average household debt, when you look at what it costs to fill up a tank of gas, to go to the grocery store, I believe the average American, the average household right now is in a recession. And if they don't know it, they're about to know it. Article today: Doritos cuts number of chips in each bag. You've been seeing this for a while. A box of cereal, a bag of chips, a bag of Doritos. You go out to eat, you're getting less food, you're paying more, the quality of service is going downhill, the quality of food goes downhill, the portions shrink, and you pay more. Hundreds of you in the last month have written me experiencing the same issues at restaurants. And I just had a bag of chips the other day. I opened it up. I couldn't believe there was 8 potato chips fell out of this little bag. And yet we're paying more for this, getting less. And it's going to continue to get worse. It is no doubt going to continue to get worse. And I think daily, how do these people with 3, 4, 5 kids feed these kids, drive them to school, drive them to baseball practice? It's got to really be getting very difficult for so many people out there. And while it gets difficult, an article from the Sun today: America's pill problem. 1 in 3 Americans take pain medication every single day, research shows. If I can give anybody any type of advice today, it is to do whatever you can to get off the pills, to get off addiction, to get off the pharmaceuticals. There are people out there that have severe medical issues and need pills, need medication. I understand that. But there's so many things now that we can do. Working out, going for a walk, eating a little bit cleaner, just getting in a more positive mindset, and just kicking these pills. Maybe you have to take 4 different pills a day, but maybe if you ate a little cleaner and got more physical activity, went to the gym, went for a walk, did something, maybe you could cut that down to 2 pills. Maybe you could cut it down to 0. How many people are type 1 diabetic right now who, if they just changed their diet and started exercising, would no longer be diabetic? It's reversible. But if you don't take care of these matters, they get worse. And it's going to shorten your lifespan. And as we head deeper into this economic depression, I think that you don't want to be dependent on pills. You don't want crutches. You don't want to have addictions. And you don't want to be in poor physical health or poor mental health. And you don't want to be spiritually poor either. A lot of people out there will tell you a lot of things to prepare for what's coming, even though a lot of these people don't even do what they say they're doing. And one thing I don't hear a lot of is getting closer to God, because your number one asset by far is God, period. And the closer you are to God, in my opinion, He's going to open your mind, open your heart, open your soul, and He's going to, I believe, awaken you like He has so many people. A lot of people are awake today and understand what's happening, because they're walking closer to God, and God is waking his people up to what is happening right now. I seriously believe that. So the closer you're walking to God, the more your mind is going to be open to what is happening. And when you have an open mind to what's happening, you're obviously going to be very, very concerned. When you're concerned, when you're fearful of what's happening, you're going to take action, you're going to prepare. And so these people who tell you, oh, you need to do this, you should do that, the biggest asset that they're missing out on, and we're really watching a spiritual war take place, the biggest asset that they're missing out on right now is walking close to God. And it doesn't cost any money. It's free. You can say your prayers today, absolutely free. And it's going to make you a stronger person. It's going to make you a wiser person. And I truly believe God is waking up his people. And while I'm on that topic, another word of advice today, be thankful for everything you have, for the food you have, for that faucet turning on that you can take a shower, drink a glass of water, for the family you have, for everything you have. Even though you may not think it's much, you have so much more than you think. If you watch my past videos and you look at the homeless epidemic that's taking place here throughout America, especially here in California, we measure wealth by what kind of car we're driving. If we have a BMW or a Lexus or a Mercedes, or, do we have a boat? Do we live at the beach? How big is our house? What's our zip code? What type of friends we have. And this is where I think a lot of people are really going to fail, because they just can't disconnect from this fake lifestyle and impressing people, instead of waking up and preparing their families for what's coming. This is going to be the worst economic collapse in world history. And yet people are too worried about how they look on social media and their pictures on Facebook and the emblem on their car and where they're having dinner tonight and what people think of them. When you stop thinking like that, when you stop worrying about what people think about you, when you stop wanting to impress people, you're going to see life in a whole different spectrum. Does it really matter? Yes, it's nice to have a nice car, and if you can afford it, by all means, enjoy it. If you can afford the zip code, if you can afford the 5-bedroom house, if you can live at the beach and you can afford it, God bless you. And you should be able to live your dream. It's nice to have nice things. I completely agree. But we have so many people now who are going broke, trying to look rich, going broke, just trying to be middle class, going broke to buy things they can't afford. And if you continue to do this, you're going to hit a dead end road here. And this economy is going to make sure that you crash. You do not want to be going into debt with where we're going right now with this economy. The debt holders are going to be in very, very big trouble. We saw this movie back in 2008. The people holding the debt got wiped out. And when you can't pay, these people who believe that you're going to be allowed to not pay your bills, that it's all going to be erased, it doesn't work like that. You'll be the ones that will be the most affected. The people with the debt will be the most affected. The people without the debt are going to be the ones that capitalize. So what I'm saying is, stop trying to impress everybody right now and going broke doing it. Right now, get yourself out of debt. Nobody cares what kind of car you're driving. Nobody cares about your zip code. That's not going to matter when everything collapses, because the people you're trying to impress, they're probably just as fake, okay? And these people are going to have no skill set, no assets, and no way out of this dead end when things collapse. There are no more free lunches, ladies and gentlemen. The stimulus is done, and nobody's coming to help you. Forget about the system. It's not going to be there to help you. They're not, and nobody's going to care what kind of car you're driving or where you live. All that's going to matter is, can you survive an economic collapse? Do you have a skill set? Do you have the resources? Do you have the preparations? If you don't, the watch you wear, the car you drive, the zip code means nothing. It's all going to be gone. I was thinking this morning, and I wanted to write this down. I went to the US debt clock. And of course, that's a nightmare in itself. And if you ever get a couple minutes, go to the US debt clock and check it out. It's horrifying when you look at the debt and how fast We're accumulating debt, the average household debt, the average consumer debt. But when we look at the average median income in America is $36,000 before taxes, okay? So $36,000, that's $3,000 a month. That's the average median income for an individual in America. Now, if we break it down, let's break down some of the bills that the average American has to pay. And let's start with the biggest one, rent, housing. Rent on average, last I checked, was over $1,700 as a national average. And I'm going to be very conservative on this list, but I put down rent $1,500. $1,500, that's a conservative number. Your average car payment now is around $500 with auto insurance. I think that's pretty conservative too. Food per month. I'm going to put the number 500 down. It's $125 a week for an individual to eat. They probably go out to eat a couple times a week. They're buying groceries. Cell phone bill, $100 a month. Internet, $100 a month. Utilities, $300 a month. Gasoline, $300 a month. Health insurance, $300 a month. That comes down to $3,600 a month right there. The average median income is $36,000 a year, and that's only $3,000 a month. So already you're in the red, $600. And what about paying Uncle Sam? You got to pay Uncle Sam his money. Taxes must be paid. So just by the average rent being $1,500, the average car payment and car insurance at $500, food at $500 a month, cell phone $100 a month, internet $100 a month, utilities $300, gasoline $300, very conservative when you're out here paying $6.39 for super unleaded, health insurance $300 a month. So already the median worker is already in big trouble, and he hasn't even paid his or her taxes yet. So I don't know how any of this is making any sense now. The math just doesn't add up. How is the average worker, consumer, citizen, how are they doing it at this point? I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is they're going very deep into debt with credit cards, buy now, pay later plans, and payday loans in order to exist. I want to switch gears a little bit and go back to what we started with, and people having huge economic trouble here in America, addicted to painkillers and pharmaceuticals, and people now having to take sleeping pills every night because they cannot sleep, because they cannot stop thinking about the financial mess that they are in. And this is mainly attributed to this economy. People are stressing out. You're going to see suicide, divorce, domestic abuse, and drug use continue to skyrocket because of the financial insecurities people have. Let's go over some facts, just a handful of facts here. Homelessness continues to rise. This is not a good sign of an economy. It is a bad reflection of the economy. U.S. wages are now falling in real terms. The inflation is eating up people's paychecks. It's eating up any savings that they have. And when you look at the data I just went over with you, there's no way people can save. They're going in the red every month. Food prices at record highs. Global food prices are up 20.7% from a year ago. Average new car price is now exceeding $45,000. The average new used car price is exceeding $25,000. Home prices up 21% from a year ago. Who in the world can buy a home at these prices? Of course, it's institutional money, it's investment money coming into these markets, making the bubbles bigger. This bubble, this housing bubble, when it bursts, is going to be absolutely devastating to America. 22% of homeowners and 46% of renters are severely burdened by housing cost. And remember, one event, one little accident, one missed paycheck, big trouble. Let's talk about homeowners. 1 in 4 homeowners and 1 in 2 renters spend on average 37% on housing every month. And the rule of thumb is it shouldn't be over 30%. And many people now are spending over 40, even 50% of their income on rent or mortgage payment. Real inflation, I have no idea. I say it's around 17, 18%. Many of you think it's way beyond that. I can't argue it. It could be well over 20% at this point. Crude oil, $110 a barrel today. In 2012, crude oil was $20 a barrel. And wasn't it about a year and a half ago where crude oil went negative briefly? It went negative. They were paying people to take it. National gas average per gallon, $4.26. I think that America, as we head into summer, we're going to see $5 a gallon gas on the national average. That means we're already seeing gas in parts of LA over it, $7 a gallon. In my area, super unleaded is running over $6 a gallon, $6.39 at Chevron, $6.89 for diesel in some locations. In 2022, U.S. families will spend almost $3,100 on gasoline. Over 70% of Americans said they will slow down spending. Well, they're going to have to. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to eat or put fuel in their car. Average workers spend 23 to 25% of their monthly budget on food and gas. So when you take food, gas, and rent or mortgage, that's literally almost all your money. People are going to have a hard time paying their cell phone bills at this point. 60% of California public school students need government assistance to eat lunch, yet we call ourselves the wealthiest nation on planet Earth. We all know that we are the largest debtor nation on planet Earth. Student loan debt is now nearly $1.6 trillion. In 2010, that number was $760 billion. Do you notice how these debts continue to just get bigger and bigger? We cannot stop spending as a country. We cannot stop spending. Average median home price, $400,000. You put down 20%, that's $80,000 on average. How many people can come up with $80,000 to put down on a $400,000 home? 1.8 million Americans seriously delinquent on their mortgage payments. That's very, very concerning. And I think that number is going to rise immensely throughout the year. 12 million renters are still behind on rent. Nearly 83 evictions took place just last week. And so far this year, almost 800,000 evictions have taken place right here in the U.S. These are very, very concerning numbers. And please, by all means, do your own research, do your own homework, confirm what I'm saying, Google this stuff. 42 million people get SNAP benefits right here in the U.S. 800,000 jobs were added in the private sector in February, but what they don't tell you is 73% of them were low-paying jobs. So it's nice to hear that, oh, all these jobs are being created, which they're not. It's just old jobs that people are being forced to return to because the free money's over. But 73% of these jobs are low-paying, low-wage jobs where you're never going to get ahead, where you're never going to be able to buy a house, you're never going to be able to pay off your car, you're always going to be paying the minimum on the credit card payment every month. And we are just watching opportunity dissolve here in America. People can't even save up $100 every month. Only 23% of jobs are considered middle-class jobs here in the U.S. Average household debt in U.S., 132% of average household income. China, on the other hand, that number is 61% of household income. That's stunning. 25% of all American adults have a credit score below 599. This will also be a problem as people are being evicted, as we're going to see an increase in foreclosures. We're going to see an increase where people stop making credit card payments. They're going to fall behind, and they're going to fall farther and farther behind. And as they do so, their credit's going to be wrecked. And as the economy gets worse, how are people going to go rent a house, rent an apartment when their credit's destroyed? The worst possible time to have debt, the worst possible time to have your credit destroyed, the worst possible time not to have a safety net, not to have some cash put away, not to have some assets, not to have barterable goods, not to have gold, silver, etc., security. The worst possible time not to have any of this stuff. And people have more debt than ever. They're destroying their credit. They have absolutely no savings, no safety net, no assets, nothing to fall back on. Worst possible time to be this individual as we fall into a massive economic collapse. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the system is not going to come and save you. That's over. The free money, the benefits, the stimulus, that's over, okay? A lot of that money now is going to go somewhere else, and it's not going to be here. It's going to be going over to Eastern Europe to help those people. It's not going to be helping you. So if you bought a car last year because you were getting stimulus checks and getting $1,000 a week in unemployment, you made a huge, huge, devastating mistake. If you can get out of a bad situation right now, maybe you better think about it. If you can sell that car for what you paid for it or even more than you paid for it, maybe it's time to get that monkey off your back. But people probably won't because they're too greedy, they're too selfish, they care too much about what people think of them and how they look on social media. So they'll probably keep the car, continue not to make the payments, and sooner or later, the bank's gonna get it and your credit's gonna be destroyed, you'll have no car, and you're gonna be in real big trouble. Worse trouble than you are now. In the past 24 months, 922,000 Americans filed for bankruptcy. 50% of Americans now carry medical debt. We talked about that yesterday. 79 million Americans are having difficulty paying those medical bills and that medical debt. Think about that. That's almost 80 million people having difficulty paying these bills. And I've met so many people that are homeless, and it's because of medical bills. Medical bills account for about 60% of all bankruptcies. Unbelievable. And another very concerning fact here. 47% of Americans cannot handle a $500 emergency. And we have big emergencies coming, ladies and gentlemen, and people just aren't prepared. They just are not prepared. People are the least prepared I've ever seen them in my lifetime, probably in history. I would say that most people probably wouldn't argue that. Many of you would probably agree that people are now the least prepared they have ever been in the history of mankind, or at least here in America. And we've had it easy for a very long time. We've had it very easy. And we really still do. And we've all gotten a little bit soft because of it, myself included. But I've made some big changes in my life, just like many of you have made some big changes in your lives. I've been walking much closer to God and really trying to say my prayers on a more regular basis and really thanking God for everything I have daily. That's so important. And as long as you're walking close to God, He's going to continue to keep your eyes open, your mind open, continue to wake you up, and continue to remind you to prepare for what's coming. He is not going to let His people just get blindsided. This is why so many of you are awake right now. You may not believe in God, but once you see what we're going to go through, I think you're going to believe in God, because I don't think you're going to get through this unless you do believe in God. Again, spiritual warfare, ladies and gentlemen. This is now spiritual warfare. We've got a debt crisis, a deficit crisis, a stock market crisis, a housing crisis, a food crisis, a spiritual crisis. You name it, we got it. we got a lot of crisis, we got a lot of bubbles, and we are not going to get out of this unless a miracle takes place. And we really all need to be praying for this nation, praying for one another, and continuing to do whatever we have to do, wake people up to prepare for what's coming. Look, at the end of the day, I can't feed everybody. People are going to knock at the door, and I'm sorry, that door is going to be closed. So I'm going to wrap it up right there. I know I've been ranting, but I wanted to stress this message with all of you today. Feel free to comment down below. There are so many people out there ignorant, naive, oblivious to what's happening, to the real truth. And it's going to be very, very hard to feel sorry for these people. So make sure that you're not one of these people. They will be the statistics. They will be the victims. They will be the losers. And there's going to be a lot of losers. Most people are going to be, they're going to get wiped out. And right now, they can portray this image because they're making the payments on the car, the boats, the sand rail, and the house. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you know it right here, and I know it. This thing is going to be, when it's unleashed, it's going to be hard to put back in the bottle, I'll tell you that. And this is not going to be fixed anytime soon. When this thing breaks apart, I think it could take 20 years to get back to any kind of normalcy. This thing's a mess, ladies and gentlemen. So much damage. The foundation has just been crumbled. And we're basically, as an economy and a country, going to have to start over. And what that looks like, I don't know. But this thing is not going to get fixed in 6 months or a couple years. The debts are so big. The damage is so devastating. And we're going to be competing with other players in the world. And I don't know where we're going to be in that. Because if we don't have gold in this country, that's going to be another problem. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.